Welcome to the 45 Aid Society Reunion 2021. It's a reunion with a difference, a virtual reunion online over the internet. We're going to start by lighting memorial candles. We light memorial candles to remember the 6 million Jewish lives that were lost in the Holocaust. The first candle is to honour all those who managed to survive the darkest hours of history. The second candle is in memory of all the innocent victims, Jews and Gentiles, who perished at the hands of the Nazis. The third candle is to ensure that the victims of the Shoah will never be forgotten. The fourth candle is a tribute to the righteous Gentiles who risked their lives to save some of the Jews of Europe. The fifth candle is to commemorate the 1.5 million children murdered by Nazi tyranny. The sixth candle is to remember the lost generations and what they would have brought to the world in art, science, medicine, and all walks of life. All lost.
Just wanted to say a big congratulations and happy anniversary, happy 76th. It's an organization like this that makes you realize how, despite the most extraordinary tragedy and suffering, humanity finds a way to do good and to make progress. So thank you for what you do and for what you're going to continue to do for each other, but also for our society.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to wish all the survivors and their families a very happy virtual 76th anniversary reunion. I'm sending you all my love and wishes.
If ever there was a symbol in the divisive time that we're living in right now of how important the work that you're doing and how important the 45 Aid Society is, it's right now. You continue to shine a light and show warmth and goodness and love where it's so desperately needed. So have a wonderful evening this evening and best of luck for the future as well. And thank you for everything you're doing.
Hello, it's Claire Balding here, just popping in to wish you all the best at your 76th anniversary reunion. As families, you are all linked by incredible bravery and by resilience, and that will bring you the very best in whatever is to come in the future. Enjoy tonight with all my love.
Wishing the 45A Society a happy 76th reunion. I was lucky enough to have met Harry Balsam, and he would be so proud of what the 45A Society has achieved today. God bless you.
Hi, it's Darcy Bussell here, sending a sincere message to the survivors and your families of the 45A Society, wishing you a congratulations on the 76th virtual anniversary. Please have a little dance or a boogie and a kiss from me.
Very best wishes to all the members of the 45A Society. It's such a pity that we can't all be together, but this is a fabulous idea, a virtual 76th anniversary celebration.
We loved coming to the reunion dinner a few years ago, and it's incredible the work that the 45A Society has done over so many years. So we miss obviously it this year, but wish you all the very best for the reunion and the very best wishes for all of the incredible work that you're continuing to do.
I especially remember dancing the horror with Lord Eric Pickles. Can't wait to do it again. See you soon.
Hello, it's Emma Barnett here, and I wanted to wish you a happy 76th anniversary reunion, sending you all the very best wishes, good health, and thank you for everything that you have done.
Welcome, my 45A family and friends, to our 2021 virtual reunion. Firstly, and the most importantly, is I hope everybody is well and safe during these dreadful times that hopefully we're coming to the end of. The Society has continued its work with various projects. The first project was when we made 3,000 calls during lockdown. The calls were to survivors and spouses who lived on their own. Amazing relationships were made. We made sure that people had someone to speak to, and also if they needed anybody, they knew we were there for them. Our education project has continued. Like most things these days, it was on Zoom. But it worked, and it's worked so well. One thing that I am so proud of, in 2019, we went to Prague and we recreated the famous picture. I cannot believe, but I am thrilled to say that the Imperial War Museum, who have just finished building their gallery for Holocaust, the end of the gallery, those two pictures are going to stand very proudly side by side. There is so much happening and so much to look forward to, especially next year, where I hope we will all be together for our reunion. At this moment though, it's L'chaim. Have a wonderful evening, stay well, see you next year, and enjoy. L'chaim again.
I joined the 45A Society because my father, Monty Graham, was one of the boys, and he felt that the boys was his family since he was liberated back in 1945. It's Lorraine Kingsley here from the 45A Society. How are you? When the pandemic came down last March, there's many older people living by themselves. They have no family can't visit and friends can't visit. And if I speak to them every week or every other week just to see how they are, so they don't feel lonely, there's someone to speak to ask them how their health is, do they need anything, how's the weather, just someone to be friendly with, to make them feel, treasured, and there's somebody there for them, and not isolated all alone in their home. So I make a note of when I've telephoned, and I make a note of anything that's really important, like birthdays, so that I can send them a birthday card on their birthday, and anything that's important in their life, I jot it down so that I remember. But most of the ladies I speak to are wonderful ladies, and they've all got such a good positive attitude and happy outlook. And that makes me happy. Even if the pandemic stops, like it did last year, the lockdown was lifted, I continue to phone, and I will continue to phone, because they've now become a member of my extended family.
So the way I like to describe it is the schools are taught from the history books, and then we come in and we give a personal experience of the Holocaust and makes it real. When the teachers talk about 6 million, it's too hard to comprehend. And then I will come in and talk about my dad and his Holocaust journey, and that's very powerful. The survivors relive their experiences. I know that my dad never slept the night of a talk, whereas for me, I kind of set my emotions aside, and I have a pride in saying that my father survived this. When you're speaking from the heart, you can't make a mistake. You're telling that story, and so don't worry about public speaking. And it's true. So I stand there, and I'm proud to be telling my dad's story, and it makes me, he died 7 years ago, it makes me feel closer to him. And as I say, I promised him I would do it, so I'm fulfilling that promise. And I think quite a number of the second generation particularly feel the same way. I travel all day to do an hour session, and with Zoom, we've found that we're able to get to more people. Some of the schools have asked for talks to be later in the afternoon, and then the parents have been able to listen as well, which we think is amazing, that a family will sit down together. And actually through the teachers I've had questions from the parents as well, and so we're getting double the audience every time we speak. And also we can get to anywhere. We can speak abroad, we can speak all over the UK, and we're always appealing to our second and third generation to get on board, and we have more and more getting on board. But it takes quite a while from having the thought that you want to tell a parent or grandparent story, getting the information together, making sure the facts are correct, getting the words, and then the images to go with. It takes probably 18 months to 2 years before a speaker is ready. As I say, we're unique, and it will always be the descendants of the boys. And I think they'll be very proud to know that their stories will continue.
On the occasion of the 76th anniversary reunion being organised by the 45 Aid Society, I would like on behalf of our community to say to all of our precious survivors and your families, thank you so much for everything you do and for the ongoing inspiration you provide. Be well, be safe, be healthy, and God bless you all.
Hello everybody, it's Gabby Roslin here. I'd just like to wish you a very happy 76th reunion. I hope you have an incredible event. I know it's difficult because you can't be together this year, so it's loads of virtual hugs, loads of virtual kisses, but I'm sending mine along to you as well. As I sit here in the car, I'm thinking about you all, just sending you so much love. And hopefully next year everyone will be able to be together and give each other proper, real, lovely, big hugs.
Hello there, it's Holly Willoughby here. To everyone watching this tonight who is representing and celebrating the incredible work of the 45 AIDS Society, I just wanted to say congratulations and well done. I know how disappointing it is that this reunion can't be done face to face, but I know that won't affect how you mark this occasion. I also know that teaching the lessons of the Holocaust by training your children and grandchildren to give talks in schools is so hugely important to you. And personally, I think that this work is vital. The message that you communicate is as powerful and relevant today as it was in 1945. It's so important that the next generation never forgets and continues to learn. Keep telling your parents and grandparents' stories and enjoy your evening. Lots of love to all of you. Bye.
Hello everyone, and warm regards to all at the 45 AIDS Society. I am honoured to send this greeting to you on this, the 75th anniversary of the arrival in the UK of the boys and the girls. We can look back and celebrate the enormous contribution they have made to life in this country, both individually and collectively. I first became aware of the boys in the mid-1980s when I was interviewing Holocaust survivors for the Imperial War Museum. Of course, you were rather more than boys at that time. The experience broadened my understanding of the devastating cost of hatred, prejudice, and in particular anti-Semitism, and it strengthened my determination to challenge these evils wherever I see them. I look forward very much to the day when we can all safely meet again, and that day does not seem so very far away now. To all you boys and girls, to your organisation, and to Angela and her team, I say, Mazel Tov.
Have a wonderful 76th anniversary reunion. Good luck to you all, and thank you for keeping the truth alive.
Hello, it's Leslie Joseph here, and I just want to send all you wonderful people and your families a very, very happy virtual 76th anniversary reunion. Good luck to all of you, and very, very many good wishes and a huge virtual hug.
Suddenly I decided I want to know what's going to happen to us. I went into the street in this town, Neuenburg. I found a few people, also survivors, walking around. So I asked, what's happening? Where are you from? What are we doing? So they said, go into that house. There's a committee, of Jewish committee already setting up, trying to get things organized. I went in there, I told them what happened. They asked me where I am from, how old I am. So I said, I can't remember, I don't know my date of birth. So they said, give us a date of birth. I gave them a date of birth, and since that date, my date of birth has always gone with me. When I was in London, we kept together the 45 AIDS Society, all the Holocaust survivors, the boys. Eventually we formed an organization. It was a club, in a Primus Club, and we met people. We got together with local boys and local girls, not only supporting each other, but creating a society where helping other people, charitable people. We were very happy.
Your name, of course, is Chaim, to life. And this is a different sort of event from lots of other Holocaust events, because this is a celebration of the enduring strength of our family.
I'm sorry I won't be there personally to be with you, but I'm with all of you now and forever. As long as we live, we'll never forget each other and be always thankful for those who helped us get on our feet again and become human beings, because we were on the verge of being lost like everybody else. No matter where you are, whether you are in Brazil, in France, in the United States or Canada, most of the boys come back for the reunions. And now, of course, we are getting to be diminished due to our age, of course. And those who are still alive still have to show that we are still around and kicking. We are still good citizens wherever we are. We are contributing to society, no matter where we are, each and everyone in our own way. And of course, we miss those who have passed. Every year we hear this one passed away. It's sad, but we cannot stop that. We cannot stop that. But we have good memories.
It's been such a joy to listen to you today, and thank you so much. We'll miss you. It's a shame we can't be here with each other, but as they say at the end of Pesach, next year in Yerushalayim, maybe next year in London, who knows?
Hello to everybody. Good luck and good health.
Greetings to the 45, greetings to the boys. It's a real shame that for the second year running, COVID-19 has prevented us all getting together. I always look forward to the annual gathering. I think it's a wonderful family occasion. It is a reaffirmation of life. I've been coming for a number of years, and you've always made me and Irene very welcome at the events, and I felt part of the boys' family. It was, I think, in definitely 2017 that I spoke at the event, and I spoke at it as the very last time as a member of Parliament before I stepped down at the general election. It was really nice to sort of see out my time as an MP among friends. So, I look forward to next year. I look forward to us gathering together, and I look forward to seeing everybody happy, fit, well, and ready for a bit of fun.
Hi, it's Lorraine here, and I just want to wish you a very happy 76th anniversary reunion. I know it's a bit different this year because it's online, but I also know how important it is for all of you to get together. And I just wanted to say, I think you're astonishing. I'm full of admiration for all of you, and also to thank you for helping us to never forget. I really hope you have a very, very special day.
This is a message to all at the 45 AIDS Society, wishing everybody a very happy 76th anniversary. I'm very sad that we can't all be celebrating together, but we are all virtually celebrating. And mazel tov to everybody.
Very good evening, everybody. I know that tonight is meant to be your 76th anniversary dinner. And of course, in normal circumstances, you would be all together, able to catch up with each other, to chat, to reminisce. And tonight that you're having to do that virtually. And I just wanted to say on behalf of me, Louise Minchin, really have a lovely evening. Very best of luck. And hopefully next year, you'll all be back together. It's lovely to talk to you. Take care. Have fun.
Hello, Matt Lucas here, and I would like to send very best wishes to all survivors and their families on this 76th anniversary reunion.
Hello, I'm Naga Munchetti, and it's just a short note to wish all of you best wishes today at your 76th annual reunion, commemorating those you've lost and celebrating those who survived. My best wishes to all of you and all of your families. Have a lovely evening.
Hello, I'm Nick Ferrari from LBC, sending my best wishes to the 45 AIDS Society, and I know you had
a massive party planned for this year for the 700 plus boys. I believe there are about 190 girls as well. We mustn't forget them. And of course, that can't now go ahead because of this pandemic. But everything that the folk have been through, of course, this is as of nothing. So my heart goes out to them. Have a superb celebration. Remember this. Remember the words, of course, the great Captain Sir Tom Moore. Tomorrow will be a better day. Have a great celebration this year and already start putting in your diaries something absolutely fantastic and even bigger and better for next year. Have a great time.
I'd like to just send my best wishes to everyone, to all survivors and family members for this 76th anniversary reunion, and to give you all my very best wishes for the future.
There is an appetite now to learn about the boys, our boys. And there's been amazing films that are made. As we know, the boys came over to the UK in 4 groups. The first group being the Windermere boys and the second group being the Southampton boys. 2 amazing films have been made, and we're going to make more films about the other groups that are coming over. The boys have been on TV in so many guises. In Who Do You Think You Are, with my own father's story. On television, talking about their story. It's important that their story carries on, and we have been lucky enough to have amazing exposure.
This is something so extraordinary to me, that you have the strength to stand on this ground again. It's something incredibly powerful. Thank you for telling this story. I didn't know what it was like for him to be here.
That is the most important thing, that you are here and that you hear what happened to your grandfather, because he never talked to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk much about it, but when the time comes, one has to talk, because people should understand what we suffered and what the Holocaust is about. That is the most important thing.
Thank you, Ben.
You don't have to thank me, I thank you.
Southampton was like paradise for us, because the things what happened before was impossible to imagine. You can't describe it. So everything what happened afterwards was paradise.
I remember the people came to film us, you know, the newsreel came to film us, and we had to do dancing and Hungarian dancing. And then we went to see ourselves on the newsreel in Winchester.
When we arrived in a coach at the place itself, and that's a Madrichim, that was people, you know, outside singing about Havinu Shalom Aleichem. You know, I don't know if it means that, Havinu Shalom Aleichem. It's the first time we're clapping, and it was a wonderful feeling.
Well, I'm glad you stayed here, Ziggy, and it's fantastic that you made new friends and a new life here. And am I right in thinking that you met your wife here in the UK?
Yes. We got married, we had a life, and today I've got 2 daughters, 6 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. What a life I had.
And this was a new life for you.
Yes, it was for all of us a new way of life. We never thought that we would achieve what we have. We had each other. We really were like a family.
Hi, it's Piers Morgan here. I'd just like to wish everybody at the 45 Society a very special day. I know you can't all get together as you normally do for your anniversary dinner. It's the 76th year, which is remarkable. But to all the survivors and all the families who support this brilliant, brilliant 45 Society, I want to wish you a great day and urge you to continue the remarkable work that you do in making sure that this generation and future generations never forget what happened in the Holocaust.
Well, I was very much looking forward to celebrating your 75th anniversary last year, and to be quite honest, only a global pandemic would have kept me away. So unfortunately, obviously that happened. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all safely celebrating a 76th year anniversary. I've really enjoyed seeing you, more of you actually, than I would have done in real life, through social media, through the web, through Holocaust Educational Trust. It's been a joy to see each and every one of you get vaccinated and to see how happy your families are as well. We all share in that delight. We're glad that you are safe and well, and I hope that in the not too distant future I will be able to see you in real life and give as many of you hugs as possible, but sending loads of love and happy anniversary, 45A Club.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Ranj Singh, and first and foremost I want to wish all of you a very happy 76th anniversary reunion. I know that circumstances mean that the format of today has changed, but the meaning behind it hasn't. And I want to wish all of you, your friends, your families and your loved ones the very best. And I'm sending you all love and light. Take care.
Hi everyone. So the wonderful Rob Rinder has been telling us all about the 45 AIDS Society and that you're having your 76th anniversary reunion virtually this year. So we just wanted to send our love.
Yes, totally. Sending you all the love in the world. Thinking of you all. Enjoy yourself. Look after each other. Take care.
To everyone connected to the 45 AIDS Society on your virtual 76th reunion, what a remarkable group of people you all are. It's my honour to say thank you for what you do and to wish you all well on this very special occasion.
Hello, I just wanted to add my voice to wish you a very, very happy 76th anniversary reunion for all the families and survivors of the 45 AIDS Society. I have a word for you which has always meant a lot to me. It's centuries old and it inexplicably faded from view, but I think you are the embodiment of it, and the word is respair. Respair is the opposite of despair. It means fresh hope and a recovery from despondency and despair, and I think you bring that in spades. So thank you and have a wonderful time.
Hello, Tom Allen here. This is a message for the boys and all their families, wishing you all a very happy 76th virtual anniversary. I hope you're all doing very well, and just to wish you all good luck wishes and much love on this special occasion.
Hi, this is Tracy Ann Oberman sending you all my love and luck for this wonderful 76th anniversary virtual reunion. You are heroes, and everything that you stand for is the best in the world and the best of humanity. All my love to you and your families, and you are very much respected and admired for everything that you've done.
Greetings from the Lake District, and all our very best wishes to the family of the 45 AIDS Society and to the boys and the girls and the 76th anniversary of their liberation. Let's all hope we can get together soon. Meanwhile, be well, and as I say, all very, very best wishes.
Good evening. What a fabulous simcha and what a wonderful reason for throwing one. This is Vanessa Feld saying Mazel Tov on your 76th virtual anniversary reunion. I hope everybody has the most magnificent time. I wish you all Zama Gezind, and I send you so much love and huge kisses. Mazel Tov.
We end tonight's film with a tribute to our boys. A tribute to our boys who celebrate every year at a wonderful reunion. Before we go, please can I thank so many people that contributed to our film this year. Thank you all for taking the time and being part of our family and friends.
name is Martin Hecht. I was 13 years old. In 1944, when the Germans invaded our village, they took all the Jewish people away to a ghetto. And the ghetto, the name was Wischau, Dessous. After 2 or 3 weeks, we were transported from Wischau, Dessous, from the ghetto to Auschwitz. I don't know how long it took, 2 or 3 days. When we arrived in Auschwitz, they separated the men from the women. On one side, we were 4 brothers with my father. On the other side, it was my mother and my sister. They selected people. After about half an hour, we were marched away. When we reached a barrack, there were people there, Jewish people, and they told us those people who were separated, your mother and your sister, and your father was taken away from you 4 brothers, they were sent to gas chamber. Afterwards, I found out that my sister survived. She was in labor camps, but she survived. The 4 brothers were sent from Auschwitz to a slave labor camp in Silesia, not far from Auschwitz, that district, that area. We were there for about 8 or 9 months. People were dying like flies. We were working in the mountains, building a railway line from Poland to Germany. Every day, hundreds of people were dying. Eventually, there were not many people left in the camp. Now I know, I found out that the Russian army was advancing to the camp, so we were evacuated from camp to camp. Eventually, they started marching us again. We were still together, the 4 brothers. They marched us for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know where they marched us, where we were, but one morning we were in a forest. Now I know it was Czechoslovakia because I looked up on the internet and I found from Dernau, from the slave labor camp to Flossenburg, where eventually we arrived, is 550 kilometers. So how long they marched us, I don't know. A few weeks. There was only a few of us left. One morning, they selected people, they divided the people who could continue marching and those who couldn't. I was the youngest of the 4. They took my 2 older brothers away and they shot all those people who they thought couldn't continue marching. And this is where I lost my 2 brothers. We continued marching, I don't know how long, another week or so, until we arrived in a camp. I didn't know, I've never heard of that camp. It was like a big city, 100,000 people. The camp name was Flossenburg in Bavaria, near the Czech border. We were there I arrived in that camp in February. From February till April, we were there, how many is that, 3 months. Eventually, what happened, we found out that the American army was approaching the camp, so they started evacuating thousands of people in groups of 5,000. We were about 5,000 Jewish people, and they started marching us. Now I know, from where we started marching from the camp to the place where I was liberated is about 70 kilometers. By the time we reached that place, the place is called Stemsvit, it's a small village. There was only a few of us left. One morning, they started marching us again, so suddenly we saw tanks. And now I know there were American tanks who were approaching us. And the guards ran away. The Americans jumped out from the tank. They started shooting the guards. That's when I was liberated. I was there in that village for a few days, 4 or 5 days. We went into a house. We found a German woman there. She ran away. There was 4 of us, my brother, myself, and 2 other boys. We were in that house for a few days. We found food. We washed ourselves. Don't forget, I had never washed myself for 1 year since Auschwitz. I was full of lice. I was in a terrible condition. Weak. We hadn't eaten for a few days. We were very weak. Eventually, the Americans took us away from that village and they took us to a town called Neuenburg, which is about 15 kilometers from this village. They put us into a hospital We were there for 2-3 weeks recuperating, getting our strength back, and suddenly I decided I want to know what's going to happen to us. I went into the street in this town, Neuenburg. I found a few people, also survivors, walking around, lost. So I asked, what's happening? Where are you from? What are we doing? So they said, go into that house. There's a committee, of Jewish committee already setting up, trying to get things organized. I went in there, I told them what happened. They asked me where I am from, how old I am. So I said, I can't remember, I don't know my date of birth. So they said, give us a date of birth. I gave them a date of birth, and since that date, my date of birth has always gone with me. All my documents, my legal documents, my passport is always that date of birth. But that's not my real date of birth. Anyway, they took us away after about 3 weeks from Neuenburg to a place called Intersdorf, which is about 200 kilometers. It's next to Dachau, about 10-12 kilometers from Dachau. It's a monastery. They looked after us. I was really in good condition again. They started teaching us. I met so many different Jewish boys from different countries, Poland, Hungary, Romania, Czechoslovakia. We made friends. We were in that place for about 6 or 7 months until one day they said, we are going to take you to England. So when I was a small boy, I found out that I had a brother and sister in Palestine. So I said to them, I don't want to go to England, I want to go to Palestine, I've got family there. So they said, no, they don't allow Jews into Palestine. So I finished up coming to England. When we were from Munich, put on a plane, and we arrived in England, and now I know the place we arrived was Eastleigh in Hampshire, not Southampton, Eastleigh in Hampshire. From there we were taken to Wintershall Hall. Now, we were there for a few weeks in Wintershall Hall. It was very nice, they looked after us, conditions were very good, we made friends. There were, can't remember how many, 50 or 100 boys, only Jewish boys, and you had to be aged sort of up to 16, you had to be classified as a boy. So we were there until, as I say, 2 or 3 weeks. Then they decided that we are going to take you to a hostel. Now, I have never heard of, I don't know England, I know nothing about the country, but they said they're going to take us to a hostel in Manchester. So they took my brother and myself to this hostel in Manchester. When we arrived there, we found it was a very religious hostel, a rabbi, everything was very typical strict Jewish kept. So we were there for a few months, and then I decided I don't like the place, it was too strict for me. So they brought me to a hostel to London, and the hostel was in Highbury New Park. The name of the street was Highbury New Park, and we were there again for a few months. It wasn't as strict as the one in Manchester, but still you had to be observant, as Jewish observant. So I decided I don't like it very much because I want to go to football on a Saturday, and I couldn't because they said you can't do it. You got to observe what we are doing here in the hostel. So again, I decided I want to leave. So they organized for me and my brother to send us to another hostel. The hostel was near Manor House, Woodbury Down. It was a very nice hostel. We were very happy there. They looked after us and we had much more freedom. Eventually they said, we are going to send you to school. We went to school in Kensington. Now, the school was a North school. So you had to be, they were teaching you a trade plus general education. So the trade that I decided to have was engineering, tool making. So we were there for 2 or 3 years. I don't know exactly how long we were there. Eventually they said, when you finish your education, you've learned the trade, now you'll have to go and stand on your own feet to look after yourself. So in other words, they stopped supporting us and we had to find a job to earn enough to able to support ourselves. So they found a job for me in a toy company in Dalston, near Stamford Hill. I was there for, I don't know, 1 or 2 years I worked there. I earned just enough to look after myself, to keep myself, I rented a room, so I paid for that, plus general cost of living. Then I decided I want to move on. So eventually I met some friends who gave me a job in a catering company. They were very nice to me, not Jewish people, non-Jewish people. They were very nice to me, and eventually I finished up having my own catering company. Now, when I was in London, we kept together the 45A Society, all the Holocaust survivors, the boys. We kept together. Eventually we formed an organization. It was a club, in a Primus Club, and it was very nice. We met there regular, and we met people. We got together with local boys and local girls, and we were very happy. But there was always a problem, I was single and I sort of had to look after myself. I made friends, but I was already earning a good living because I didn't work for anybody else. I worked for myself. I looked after myself and I was very happy. And the Jewish organization, the 45A Society, did a marvelous job, not only supporting each other, but creating a society where helping other people, charitable people. We were very happy. So eventually it came to a time where I decided I want to get married after so many years as a bachelor. I met a lady and eventually we got married. We stayed in London for many years until about 10 years ago we decided, we've retired both, we want to come and live in Israel because I've got my family still in Israel. We came to Israel, we've been very happy. Israel is a fantastic country, especially for Jewish people. Not only is Israel looking after its own affair, it's looking after all the Jewish people all over the world, because it's important that somebody is responsible and looking after Jewish people. It could never happen again, what happened to the Jewish people in Europe.
Howard, this year, as my Bubba likes to say, you'll be 92, Kanena Horror. And we're going to hear a little bit about your war experience, but also about what happened after the war, when you came to England, and what it's meant for you to be part of the 45 Aid family as a refugee in England, and then onto your journey in your homeland now of Canada. Before we begin, this has been a challenging year, to say the very least, for everybody. What's it like? What's it been like in Canada? How have you managed the lockdown?
Well, I am 92 years old now, as you mentioned, and time, as it seems, as you get older, time flies quicker. Looking back to my childhood, of course, you look back at it now differently as it was evolving. I was born in Poland in 1928 in December, so I'm 92, like I said. And as a boy, like all boys, we went to school. We had, our parents had great expectations of us, especially in my family, where education was highly stressed. And we lived a normal life, except we were Jews in a Christian society in Poland. But we were a community of about 3,000 Jewish people. And in those days, most of the people were observant, some say Orthodox. And we were observant up to a point. My father didn't have payat, and he didn't have a beard. He didn't shave either, he had a little stub. And we went to school, and we were four children in the household, the oldest being a daughter. I was the middle of three boys.
Middle of three boys. Tell me your sister and your brother's names.
My sister's name was Gietel or Gucha.
Gucha.
My elder brother, Harry, myself, Howard, or then I was called Chaim. And I had a younger brother called Shmuel or Samuel. And the interaction between the Jews and the Christians in town depended greatly on the personality of the local priest. Of course, we were not judgmental then. We knew our place in society. We were Jews and the rest were not. Christians, Poland being a predominantly Roman Catholic country. We got on well with our neighbors. Jews lived amongst the Christians, and the Christians lived amongst the Jews. And comparatively speaking, except being discriminated against employment-wise and other things, we lived a normal life. This is how life was in Poland before the war.
How was it that you ended up as part of the boys? What happened?
Well, as is well known, when the war came close to the end, the prisoners that the Germans held, be they Jewish or Russian or French or whatever, they were evacuated from the coming Russian army going west. And it was a tragic transfer of prisoners. We wound up in Buchenwald, out of Auschwitz. And when we came to Auschwitz, I was separated from my brother and my father, and I didn't know where they were being taken, and I was left in Auschwitz. And eventually, in January 1945, most prisoners from Auschwitz were also evacuated. In my column, we walked a certain distance from Auschwitz to, in my case, to Breslau, or Wrocław in Polish. And from there, they were put on a train, an open train, freight train, and we were taken to Buchenwald. Now, because different prisoners used to come to Buchenwald from different other camps, I was hoping to find my father and my brother. I didn't have much hope, although I did have hope, to find my mother, my sister, my younger brother. Seeing how we were treated, we figured, what is befalling the prisoners that I was amongst with, the same thing had happened to my sister, my mother, and my younger brother. But being in Auschwitz, we had a chance to, as long as you were healthy and useful to the Germans, you didn't have any accidents, you didn't get beaten up, or you didn't be experimented on, you had a chance from day to day to survive. With the whole, of course, you get reunited with all those relatives that you separated from. So in Buchenwald, I started looking for my father and my brother. So my father I didn't find, but I did find my brother Harry in Buchenwald. So I managed to get him transferred from his barrack to my barrack, and we were together there until April. We came to Buchenwald in January. And we were transported out, or forced out of Buchenwald. We were put on a train with mostly Russian prisoners of war, and we traveled for 4 weeks with very meager rations, with 2 days of rations. And we traveled mostly with Russian prisoners of war, and if you can imagine, traveling for 4 weeks on 2 days of rations. So we left about 4,000 prisoners approximately. At the end of the journey, which happened to be in Theresienstadt, we were liberated, and we were only about 500 of us left alive then.
Were you with your brother at that point?
Well, I was together with my brother then. We traveled on the same wagon together with some of the boys who wound up in Theresienstadt, and then eventually we were taken to England in August of 1945.
How was it that you came to know that you had an opportunity to come to England? What happened?
We didn't really know. we were urged to go back home. What does home mean? Home means the way you came from, and with the hope that you're going to meet those with whom you were separated. Your parents, your siblings, your neighbors, your school friends. And some of the boys did go back to Poland. Some of the Hungarian boys went back to Hungary, and some did not, depending on their outlook on life and how they figured that if they have a chance to meet whoever they lost. So since my brother Harry was in bad physical shape, he didn't recuperate as quickly as some of us, including myself. So I didn't go back to Poland right away, although there was a commission. There was a Polish commission, a French commission. They were urging their citizens to come back home and rebuild the country. Poland being devastated so badly, the Polish authorities urged us to go back and help rebuild our fatherland, our motherland. So I didn't go back so quickly because I had to look after my brother Harry. But some of the boys went back to Poland. And quickly they came back telling us it's no use going back to Poland because we don't get the welcome from our neighbors back home. In our case, in Wierzmik was amalgamated with Starachowice, which was a suburb of Wierzmik. Eventually they amalgamated, it was called Starachowice then. They were shooting the Jews. As they appeared, they came to their houses, they demanded their things that they separated, and they left it for safekeeping with their neighbors. They shot several Jewish people in Wierzmik after the war, not by the Germans, but by the Poles. I think this was the only country where Jews were shot after the war. So I didn't go back. So we were in Theresienstadt, and we were housed in a separate from the adult prisoners in most cases, in a schoolhouse. It was called a škola. It was Czech. And we waited. Everybody wanted to look after the children because we were exceptional and there was very few of us left alive. So we got extra special treatment, especially from the Russians. They assigned nurses to us more than they did to the rest of the population. And we did pretty well, except, they fed us, which we were not used to eating anymore. And many of us succumbed because of eating. And we were asked, or at least that's what the rumor went around, we were looked after by some adults. I don't know whether these adults were assigned to us or they self-proclaimed to us as guardians, but we were amongst ourselves. We spoke Yiddish, we spoke Polish, we spoke German. Some of the boys were Hungarian, so they spoke Hungarian, but the common language was mostly Yiddish. And as time went by, they sent some emissaries, I believe, from Palestine to train us for Aliyah to go to Palestine. And this is when they asked us where we want to go, we wanted to go to Palestine. And of course, the keys to Palestine were held by the British then, and the French Red Cross apparently wanted to come and look after us, take us to France, and the Swiss Red Cross apparently wanted to take us to Switzerland, but we adamantly refused. We wanted to go to Palestine. So then they made a registration of us, and they asked us, your name, you were born, your name of your parents, and where do you want to go? Because we were stuck there. I mean, the Czechs were very nice to us, but there's a limit to it. It was after the war. They were also devastated. They did a pretty good job looking after us. And eventually, the Central British Fund, I believe, which was the Jewish community of Great Britain, came and made a deal with the commandant of Terezin, which was a colonel, I don't know if it was a captain or a colonel. His name, I believe, was Kuzmin. And he said, well, the boys don't want to go to France, don't go to Switzerland. We're not going to make them go. So they agreed with this commandant. They promised us. This is the impression that we got amongst all the goings on. We were not privy to it, that the British Jewish community or Great Britain agreed to let us into Great Britain temporarily for recuperation, with eventually emigrating to Palestine.
What was it like when you told you were coming to Britain? What did Britain mean for you in your imagination?
Going to Britain, as anywhere else, particularly to Britain, is at least somebody wanted you. Somebody wanted you. And somebody wanted to look after us. So those who qualified, I mean, there were many of the boys, some of the girls were sick. If you had TB or anything like this, you had to pass an English commission. And if you didn't qualify, you didn't go. As a matter of fact, I had to leave three or four of my close friends that couldn't come to Britain. But Harry and I qualified, and we came to Great Britain. Eventually, we found out, but this personally, between me and Harry, after finding an uncle in Palestine, he let us know that we have two aunts in Britain, that my father had two sisters in Britain, in London.
Oh.
And we also found out that my mother had two sisters in Canada. This took a little while to find out.
What I want to find out about is what that was like. There you were with the other boys and girls who would eventually become part of this international family, the 45 Aid Society. What was it like when you first touched down in England? Do you remember that?
It was big excitement. It was big excitement. Most of the boys come from Poland. Most of the boys come from small towns. I never went on a train before the war. I did go on a bus a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And going on a plane was a real excitement, First, we were transported to Prague. We had to wait for good weather when the planes could take off or land. I don't remember exactly. Eventually, we boarded the planes and we came to Great Britain. And we were amongst ourselves. I mean, we were a big family. All the boys, the girls were, some of the boys were closer with some others, and some were, some of them you knew to say hello to, you chatted, but some were very close, like family.
So as part of this big family, how did that help, if at all, being so far away from your place of birth and with everything that you had been through, you and your brother?
By then, we knew that nobody else survived from my family, that only Harry and I. Only Harry. By then, although while things were happening during the war, when people by trainloads were taken to these extermination camps, we didn't know then where they were taken to and what was happening to them. But after the war, we knew that they had extermination camps, and by the trainloads from place to place to place, from location to location, every day they were taken there and murdered on arrival. By then we knew, so we had no more hope that any of the family. But she still never left hope. He said maybe there is some possibility that somebody ran away or something like that.
So you built these friendships with other boys and girls in England.
We were taken to Windermere.
Aha! You're one of the Windermere boys, of course. Did you know my Zayda out of interest?
He was in the bakery business, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah. Tell us a little bit about Windermere and what the place was like and how you built a mishpocha, a family.
Well, in Windermere, when we were unloaded, they took our clothing away, and they eventually, after a little bit of doing, they give us new clothing. And I still remember, I bought an undershirt. I put it on, it was a little bit itchy. I looked at it was a gift from the Canadian Red Cross. Ah. So we had new clothing, which we valued greatly, and we compared one to another. Don't forget, we had nobody to look after us. We had no parents. We had no, well, some of us had siblings. There were a few boys who had brothers, and sometimes they had a brother and a sister, but very few of those. You can imagine if you have no family, you just form a family. It comes, I think it comes naturally. It comes naturally, yes. I remember even on the journey from Buchenwald to Theresienstadt on the train carriage, on the wagon, you know, we had clicked. We had to look after each other. We organized or we stole and helped each other. And this was a big deal, believe it or not.
And did you eventually, you ended up going to Canada, but what was it like to leave Britain and the friends that you'd made in Windermere? Was that an easy decision?
Eventually, my aunt and uncle in London, who were in London, they made arrangements for the Bloomsbury House. The Bloomsbury, we call the Bloomsbury House. This was the organization was housed in a hotel called the Bloomsbury House. They made arrangements, and we agreed to meet our aunt and uncle and to see if they want us or even if we wanted them. So eventually, Harry stayed with one of my father's sisters, and I stayed with the other one. This was a blessing for us, but we missed the boys. But then once we settled in London, any free time, we used to go to the hostels. And this is what happened after Windermere. They were assigned in different places into the hostels, say 10 or 15 boys with some madrichim or guardians. And this is how we had friendships. And eventually some of the boys got married. In my case, I got a letter from the Bloomsbury House, I think it was Mrs. Haig, informing me that I don't qualify to go to Canada. I had no idea about going to Canada. So there you are. I was challenged. I cannot go. I said, no, I can go. Why can't I go? So it was a matter of age. To come to Canada, you had to be under the age of 18, and I just about on the borderline. And I made a big fuss, and I was included to come to Canada with the understanding that if I don't like it in Canada, I will come back to Britain. My brother was not qualified because he was 2 years older. If I don't like it in Canada, I will be able to come back to England. And if I like it in Canada, I will be able to sponsor my brother. And this is how it was. It was not easy to separate ourselves, but we lived with the hope either I come back or he come to Canada. Eventually, he met a girl in England. Eventually, he got engaged, he got married. I went to the wedding, and she had parents there. She didn't want to leave England. So the end was that he stayed in England, and I luckily also liked it to come here in Canada, and I stayed with my aunt in Toronto.
What was it like when you met the surviving family for the first time in Canada?
Well, there goes another story. When I came with a few other boys from the Windermere boys, and we were assigned to stay in a hostel. And I went to the hostel, and my aunt appeared with her family, and she wanted to take me to live with her. Of course, I didn't know her, and I wanted to stay with the boys. I didn't want to go live with her. And she was more stubborn than I was. She it was instrumental in getting me to go with her. And I lived with her and with her family. They treated me like one of her sons until we got married. And this is the best thing that ever happened to me when I came to Toronto, despite the fact that I originally didn't want to go to live with her, but stay with the boys.
You told me that you decided not to go back to university, but tell me, what job did you do in Canada? What job have you done all these years?
When I was in Britain, in England, I was apprenticing to be a diamond cutter. When I came to Canada, I was working for a very short time as a diamond cutter. And then this job disappeared, so I had to learn a new trade. So I learned in the jewelry trade. I became a diamond setter, and I was regarded very highly in the trade. And I also dabbled and built some apartment houses and dabbled in real estate.
This year, we're not going to be with each other for the 76th reunion of the boys. Howard, what does the reunion mean to you? What should it mean to all of us?
Well, as time goes by, it means a lot to not only to me, to everybody that was amongst those Windermere boys, so to speak. This year, we were planning, as a matter of fact, it was last year, to go back to the reunion, go to Windermere. My wife, who comes from Lviv, or now called Lviv, it was Poland before the war, now it's the Ukraine, to visit where she lived in Lviv. Now, if I may diverge, and my wife, Elsa, she had a good sense. My biggest mistake was after the war is not going back to school. I was kind of independent. I worked and I earned enough to go by. And this was my biggest mistake, is not going back to school. She had a good sense to go back to school. Of course, we go back to school, but no English. It's a challenge. It's a challenge that you have to overcome. And eventually, when the kids were of school age, she got herself involved with the school, make sure the kids get a good education. She made sure they are good teachers and stuff like this. And eventually, she was urged to run for office. So she ran for office as a school trustee. That means there's a government, there's a city hall, there's a special department there called the school board. They looked after the schools in the area in North York where we lived. Eventually, she was a school trustee for about 20 years. And she was at sometime it is 20 years, for about a few years, she was the chair of the North York Board of Education, highly respected. And this was her contribution in Canada to the school system. She was also instrumental in introducing a curriculum about the Holocaust, which was compulsory to be taught in the school system, first in North York, and then it spread into other areas of education.
Hello, Elsa. It's such a privilege to meet you.
She's hard of hearing.
Please tell her we're all quelling about her achievements.
We take pride in each other's achievements, of course. Some of the boys have great achievements. Some politically, some economically, and some in the school systems. You know, some of the boys really distinguish themselves academically.
As the years go by, how does it feel to be one of the last people that saw the face of the Shoah?
Unfortunately, there is fewer and fewer of us left. In England, when I used to go back to the reunions, we really had a really good times meeting old friends. In Canada, in Toronto, there was about 20 or 25 of the boys, some of the girls, emigrated to Toronto. So we had our clique here too. We stuck with each other. We had good times and bad times. But we always stuck together and helped each other as the help was required. But unfortunately, there's very few of us left here alive too. In Toronto, there is about 5 of us left alive out of maybe 20, 22, or 20, 25 of the boys from Windermere.
What advice would you have for the next generations? Those who are going to continue to build the 45A Society as we become an even stronger family?
Taking into consideration our background, we are the ones not to forget and urge others not to forget. Nobody wants to be forgotten. And if we don't show the example, to the general population, be they Jewish or not, it doesn't matter, that this event in world history, I mean, killing the Jews or murdering the Jews was not a Jewish question. It's a universal problem, a universal question. What happened then, if we're not watchful, it'll repeat itself. As a matter of fact, we've never learned from the Shoah. Things have been going on, killing each other for whatever reason somebody wants to choose. So we have to remember what happened and learn from it. And if we don't learn from it, it'll eventually creep up again. Being Jews, especially, we have to be very watchful, make sure that Israel is strong enough not to be a victim of similar circumstances. This is why Jews help Israel. They might not agree with their politics, but we have to make sure that they stand proud and we stand proud with them. And to make sure that the people who perished so terribly, unnecessarily, under the guise of war, that they're not forgotten.
Your name, of course, is Chaim, to life. And this is a different sort of event from lots of other Holocaust events, because this is a celebration of the enduring strength of our family. So to that extent, Chaim, Howard, I'd like to say thank you and to wish you and everybody watching L'chaim.
I'm sorry I won't be there personally to be with you, but I'm with all of you now and forever. As long as we live, we'll never forget each other and be always thankful for those who helped us get on our feet again and become human beings, because we were on the verge of being lost like everybody else. I admire the organizational aspect of what the descendants of the boys doing in England. We used to go, we looked forward to go to the different reunions, although I didn't go to every reunion, but to the main ones I used to go. Of course, I had another reason to go to England, is because Harry lived there with his family. And what they are doing is unprecedented, and it is, I don't know how to put it, it is something that they show the world, that once you have friends, the same background, we have different values, and our values are, I think, a little bit above the average. We treat each other like family, and we needed that. We needed it psychologically, of course. We needed it, and to show that no matter where you are, whether you are in Brazil, in France, in the United States or Canada, most of the boys come back for the reunions. And now, of course, we are getting to be diminished due to our age, of course. And those who are still alive still have to show that we are still around and kicking, and if not, our persons will continue, our memories will and should through our children, grandchildren, in many cases, great-grandchildren. This is very nice. It's a good example to humanity. That we didn't wind up like living in the jungle. We are still good citizens wherever we are. We are contributing to society, no matter where we are, each and everyone in our own way. And of course, we miss those who have passed. Every year we hear, this one passed away. It's sad, but we cannot stop that. But we have good memories.
It's been such a joy to listen to you today, and thank you so much. We'll miss you. It's a shame we can't be here with each other, but as they say at the end of Pesach, next year in Yerushalayim, maybe next year in London, who knows?
Hello to everybody. Good luck and good health.